Well, GR86 action returns here on Sunday nights on the JP Broadcasting Network as the Tanso Racing Group GR86 Grand Tour gets underway for the first of 6 weeks. And our first location, just based outside of Birmingham, Alabama, Barber Motorsports Park is the first of 6 venues. And you join tonight myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and Mr. James Parfitt. JP! Back in the saddle again, aren't we, eh?
Absolutely, dear sir. How are you, anyway?
Greetings from the Netherlands, and more importantly, Eindhoven Airport, because I'm flying back tomorrow. But you know what? Sim racing commentary can be done anywhere in the world as long as you've got a good internet signal and you've got some good racing coming up. And we've got 6 great circuits on this Grand Tour with Tanso Racing Group. We've got Barber this week, Snet 300, Sebring, Silverstone, Road America, and Thruxton. So the drivers tonight are really going to have to get up to speed quickly. We've got a combination of pro and pro-am drivers, but the plucky GR86, it's an every driver's car, isn't it, here on iRacing?
Yeah, that's the thing. It is in that beginner's category of machines, and you know, this is one of them machines that if you drive well, it will go well. If you drive it horrendously, your back end's coming around and saying hello to the front, and that's the thing at the moment, you know. And it's a car that people can go out and they can have fun in, and that's the purpose of it. It's not quite a TCR, it's not quite a GT3, it just kind of sits somewhere in the middle.
So this particular circuit opened back in 2003, measures just over 2.3 miles, 17 turns apparently on the IndyCar layout, but we all know that the Americans do like to do the old turn 7, turn 7A, 7B. I've got 14 and 14A, so let's call it 17 corners here. But it's a very, very technical and fast-flowing circuit with a lot of big old curbs for the drivers to deal with as we're into the final 5th of the 10-minute qualifying session. We'll first of all have a 20-minute sprint race, and then the top 12 will be inverted for race number 2. But Daniel Wareham for Simtech in the 323. We know of this man anyway, and he's a pretty rapid peddler, and he's ahead by about a 10th ahead of Neil Kennedy. Michael Dolan rounds out the top 3. Jim Marshall in 4th, Lee Martin in 5th, Igor Satiro, Matt Benson, Dan Forster, Joseph Lopez, and Casper Roost round out your top 10. And we're only covered by 3/4 of a second in this qualifying session here, JP. That's pretty close.
Yeah, it's going to be close. We don't hit a second gap until we get down to, where are we, 137.5, till we get down to about 12th place, give or take, with Adrian Hadfield and Simon Darch. So it will keep it close, and this track will do that. You know, they have got areas to draft, like we're on now, the rundown into the left-hander as well. We do have that dodgy number counting from the Americans as per normal. Couldn't just quite, you know, continue the counting up in ones. We had to add A's and B's in there, which is a little bit annoying. But, you know, they've got the run from turn 6. It goes right up into turn 7 where we're heading now. They won't really want to try and go through here too wide. It will cause a problem. In through turn 8, they can get a little bit of a run up to 9, kink through 10 and 11. So they've got some opportunities to overtake, and it's not going to be liney, but I think for the opening round of the season, it's like everybody gets excited anyway, right? It's the first race of the season. You want to do well when you want to do that. But you also want to make sure you score points, and that's the biggest thing. Make sure you're scoring points, and that's the main purpose of the opening round. Get points on the board. It doesn't matter how many you get or where you get them from. Try and get some.
Yeah, and not make a complete fool of yourself in the meantime live on air. And that can happen. We've seen that a multitude of times over our tenure as sim racing commentators, buddy, as Daniel Wareham goes a little bit wide, and that is down the backstretch, down the start-finish straight, and with 2 seconds to go, he pulls to the left-hand side. Well, he's done enough for pole position anyway, as the checkered flag is out for qualifying. And that, as they say, is that there's our good mate Barney in the stalls just over the start-finish straight. So, qualifying completed, and race 1 out of 2 for round 1 out of 6 is about to get underway, my good friend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a good one. And let's see how they all get on. The grid is up for you there.
So, Daniel Wareham takes the first pole position of the season here at round 1 out of 6. Neil Kennedy alongside on the front row. Michael Dolan and Jim Marshall, row 2. Lee Martin and Igor Sotiro round out row 3. Matt Benson and Dan Forster round out row 4 with Joseph Lopez and Casper Roost rounding out the top 10. Simon Darch and Adrian Hadfield round out row number 6. And good to see that Connor Pink has decided to jump back into a sim. Obviously, his good lady has let him off the leash, so to speak. He starts 13th. And alongside him will be Robert Barber, Stuart Briley, John Johnston, and Matt Perez. Round out your 17 strong. So just waiting for the final couple of cars to line up. Neil Kennedy and Casper Roost yet to do so. But it is going to be the case of a 20-minute race. We invert the top 12 once the results have been completed. And as you can see in the top centre of the screen, Pro is yellow, Pro-Am is going to be the pink designations, as Casper Roost yet to dive onto pit lane, well, dive onto the grid, so we could be very shortly under starters' orders here, JP.
Yeah, it's going to be green very, very shortly, mate, I think as well. Just waiting for Casper. He's got about 20 seconds at this moment in time to get onto the grid. Perez is blinking in and out, but there we go, green light. Lights are up.
So, for the first time here in the Toyota Tanso Racing Group GR86 Grand Tour, lights are out. And the plumes of wheel spin smoke hit the air here at Barber Motorsports Park. As Daniel Wareham leads the way, Michael Dolan up the inside through at T1, down the hill for the first time. And Kennedy retakes the position as they go through turns 2 and 3. Downhill, adverse camber to the right-hand side, now through the sweeper at 4, over the crest. It's a bit of a blind one here as we ride on board with Michael Dolan in the 357 ESR entry, rounding out the top 3 as they break the timing beam to complete sector 1, and Michael Dolan nearly ended up in the rear end of Neil Kennedy there.
Absolutely, and Michael Dolan went in very, very quick there into the turn at the same time at turn 5, so he's carrying a lot of speed at the moment. But Neil Kennedy and Dolan, both Pro-Ams. I'm a little bit sceptical about that one. I might have to just confirm that with John on his little sheet that he sends me over.
Yes, indeed. And, well, at the moment, Joseph Lopez, biggest loser at the moment. Mr. Zoomies, as we've called him in years past, has dropped 4 spots down to 13th. Igor Sotiro down into 8th place from starting 6th on the grid. But Daniel Wareham already opening up a second lead. Oh, Jim Marshall's got off the circuit. Exit stage left. So that's not gone well for the 366 early doors.
Yeah, absolutely. You're only on lap 1 here. It is quite a long lap around here for these little cars as well. But you can see Marshall at this moment in time in that pink machine has got Foster in between, Benson in between, Ego Sotiro's on his way. He's got a load of traffic coming in the background behind him as well. Casper Roost is looking to try and get the inside of 1. Sotiro runs it wide. He's going to get eaten up a little bit here. And Simon Dutch sweeps around the outside of Casper Roost, and that was all because he just went in too hot into turn 1. And Sotiro now managed to stay ahead, but as you can see, Simon Dutch in behind. He's got his own queue of Roost, Hadfield, Pink, and Lopez all coming in behind him.
Yeah, so it is a case of starting, you've got to try and get into a bit of an early rhythm here at Barber Motorsports Park. But with how close the cars are in terms of proximity, you can see side by side here at the moment. And that is Sotiro and Roost. And Simon Darch manages to keep himself on the black stuff whilst having more than a bit of a little nibble at the curbing. He took a great big bite out of it on that particular occasion. But now he's right with several other drivers. So, of course, over the course of the race distance itself, it's actually Casper Roost that's just behind him. And then just behind that is Adrian Hadfield. Connor Pink is starting to close in on them with the interesting livery he's got. Not quite Kachow, it's Cheetos. And Connor goes rally crossing. Nearly has Joseph Lopez. Mr. Zubi's up the inside. Through it effectively turn 15. So Lopez once again just showcasing his wonderful love for his canine companions as he comes out of the final corner 2 wheels make that 4 wheels off track and loses a bit of time to Connor Pink in the process.
Yeah, all the while Dan Wareham's pulling away up front. He's got Kennedy tucked in behind that, Dolan in there as well. Lee Martin has got his own issues. Jim Marshall trying to go up the inside on the run through turn 4. Marshall now on the outside coming into 5. Martin should be able to dive it in deep, open the steering up a little bit and just give him something to think about on the exit. Oh, you could have got a little bit wider than that. You're a little bit nice, unfortunately, there. And that's going to lose your inside now for Jim, who's going to have the inside, should have the inside, going into 7, 7A and 7B.
Well, let's call it 7, 8 and 9 on this particular occasion. I might have to do it. Oi, 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 oi. And that front bumper's taken a bit of a wallop there as well. You can see the indent at the bottom of it. Yeah. So, yeah, that's going to probably cause a little bit of well, it won't cause aero imbalance. I mean, if it was completely stoved in or completely hanging off the car, then yes, there would be more air rushing through the front of that car than anything else. Let alone bugs and, well, virtual bugs and grass and everything else you can think of. And oh, well, behind him, Darch goes off the track as they go through the final couple of corners. And again, one of the interesting things about Barber Motorsports Park here, JP, is the fact that there is so much undulation. There's so many blind crests. Always someone's had a code brown for Adrian Hadfield in the 205 entry coming out of that final corner, and Joseph Lopez, Mr. Zoomies, up the inside he goes at T1, neatly through.
Yeah, Connor went through on that one as well, so unfortunately for Hadfield, he lost 2 places in that little bit of a scrap. We've got Robert Barber in behind with Adrian Hadfield up in front of us at the moment. Neil Kennedy is closing in on Wareham. He's 1.25 back. You see Michael Dolan is sitting in literally barely 3 tenths behind him on the run into 7, 8 and 9. They've got to drop down. This track is very, very tricky. I don't know if anybody's driven this circuit before, but it is a very, very tough track to get right, and especially going through 7, 8 and 9. That's the thing. So they're going to have to be a little bit careful to make sure they can get through there for both races. We've got 14 minutes to go on the clock, and at the moment, and Wareham leading the way, Dolan tucked in behind him. Marshall's got his own little bit of a following of Dan Foster and Matt Benson. There is Benson there in behind us as well, and obviously we're on board with Dan Foster, but still lots of more racings to come. We've still got 13 and a half minutes to go.
Yeah. Connor Pink's just had a bit of an off. We did see him in free practice off air have a bit of an altercation with the barrier of some description at high speed. Let's just say someone might not have pumped the brakes in time. But yeah, I've tried racing. Oh, what does I say? That Eagle Cicero out of the final corner. And that was a big old smack of oversteer. You're going to see him. He touches the grass. Back end's going to go here on the curbing. And there she blows. And bang, there goes the front end.
Ouch. There goes Cicero. It's back in pit lane, funny enough, with a meatball on that one. It's Foster and Benson are running side by side there in very similar liveries, but completely different teams. Benson in the Valhalla Motorsports machine, while Dan Foster in the Simtech machine. Very similar liveries. That's not going to cause us too many pit issues this season.
No, indeed. I mean, Simtech's gone for this bit of a JPS Lotus look. But you could say the same for the Valhalla side of things with Mr. Matt Benson. But yeah, that was that curb had one thing, and it said to Eagle Cicero, hello, yeet. And that could just simply happen. I tried racing this track once. I got to lap 3 and I did exactly the same mistake as Cicero. I took too much curb going through the final corner, over-rotated on exit, hit the loud pedal when I shouldn't have done. I was a bit too eager. And so I ended up in the pits and I ended up rage quitting that race.
It's easily done, mate. It's easily done.
It is.
I've seen top drivers go crashing around here as well, you know, and it's just one of them circuits that you just take your mind off it for a second, and unfortunately the wall, the barrier and anything other than that is in front of you. You know, this opening section is great, You can run it quite hard, fast into turn number 1. You've got to get it brake for 2 and 3 on the run down to 4. But then you're just free to open it up, let it extend, pull it in on the blind apex as well. It's that same normal scenario of aiming for a tree going through there at the moment as well. You pick a point and you literally just aim for that point lap after lap after lap, because otherwise it's like Dingle Dell and up at Sheens. If you get it wrong, you end up going off somewhere random. And even Road Atlanta turn 1, going into 2 and 3, you point it at the tree and hope the car stops. So, you know, there's lots of different things that these drivers have got to contend with, and one of them is unfortunately the ups and downs of this circuit. It is literally up and down all the way through.
As Connor Pink gets reeled in by Mr. Zoomies, Joseph Lopez. This is the battle for P10 overall, but they are both in the Pro-Am category. And more importantly, this is for 4th in the class as they go up the incline over the curbing. And this is going to be Connor.
Send it on him.
Go on. Oh. Connor goes defensive and Joseph goes, no, I'll wait, thank you. Sometimes what you need is an invitation of the car either having a bit of a moment. Joseph goes a little bit later on the brakes in comparison with Connor, who we've both known for quite a time now, you and I, and it's great to see that Connor has been given the opportunity to get back behind the wheel despite the Joseph to the outside at turn 1.
He got pushed there, that's why Connor literally
he leaned on him.
Yeah, he literally sent him that way as well. It was great driving and a great defense from Connor, because he purposely sent him that way to make sure that that's where he wanted him. This is where we talk about the proactive reactive movement. Connor was very proactive. He wanted Joseph on that outside. He needed to get the run from that, and that's exactly what he did. And now he's got Lopez, who's under pressure right on the left hand side there as well. You can see up alongside that is Adrian Hadfield having his own little go at the same time. So, you know, all is still to play for here, lots still to go, and we'll see what goes on. But unfortunately for Lopez, it does look like he's just lost that place to Hadfield.
Yeah, Hadfield pretty much saw the opportunity and took full advantage of it without a second of hesitation. So thereby it means that Adrian Hadfield in the Next Gen Racing number 205 car rounds out your top 5 in the Pro-Am division at the moment. But still, Daniel Wareham is leading, but Neil Kennedy has been putting in some quick laps as well, I must admit here, JP. He's just done well, his personal best is a 1:36.358. He's just done a 1:36.5, and he's just gone 3 1,000s quicker than Wareham. The gap now down to about 6.5 tenths of a second. So even some of the Pro-Ams can be a bit of a surprise here, as Jim Marshall gets the fastest lap of the race, the 36.32. Now there you see the separation of the classes, Pro versus Pro and Pro-Am. So Neil Kennedy, Michael Dolan, Simon Darch round out your top 3 in the Pro-Ams. Daniel Wareham, Jim Marshall and Dan Forster round out the top 3 in the Pro division so far, with 8 minutes remaining on the timer.
Yeah, 8 minutes to go here. Got some close battles. Lopez, Hadfield battling it out in the Pro-Am. Drax, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Why cut 4th time? I don't get what you mean by that. Help me out there, buddy. Let me know a little bit more details and we'll try and explain it to you if we know what it is. But Lopez closing in on Hadfield again. Whoa, that's not going to help the situation. Don't do that.
No, stop blinking, Joseph. Stop blinking.
Yeah, otherwise you won't be, I won't be on you much, because otherwise you will kill me and crash everything. But don't do that. But Hadfield now has got Lopez tucked in right behind. Foster and Marshall, they're having a battle. This was 2nd and 3rd in class as well. And Benson is still in the mix in that Valhalla Motorsport machine. So these two at the moment, although they're being stuck together like Velcro, kind of holding each other up in a way. You kind of want to say, look, leave me alone. Let me get on with it and follow, rather than putting me under pressure and pulling us back.
And it's the leave me alone, I know what I'm doing kind of scenario. But nevertheless, Matt Benson is not one to give up the opportunity to chase somebody down and get past them on track. So this battle for P3 really starting to heat up here. we've seen great flashes of racecraft from Valhalla Motorsports Matt Benson in the 369 car, but he is closing. Forster's going to have to defend, and he's got to have eyeballs in the back of his head right now as down the hill they go into turn 5. And Benson is within a car length, not even half a car length, as they go through out of turn 6, and then it's going to be over the rise, down the dip, into turn 7, 8 and 9 before they hit T10.
Yeah, absolutely. The answer to that question could be, Drax, if he keeps cutting out on us, or as an internet spike, it will cut the time out and leave it blank. So unless that's what's happening, unfortunately, we'll have to keep an eye on Jim as well. But Matt and Dan still having a good old go here on that one. Kennedy Dolan fighting out for the Pro-Am situation again. I've got a funny feeling they're going to change very, very shortly. Benson and Foster, though, however, tuck nose to tail, and that is why they have not left each other alone. Lopez, Hadfield, I'm hoping these two are in and out. I don't like really having to follow my leader kind of scenario in racing, but these two kind of need it to be able to close on the guys behind in front of them. If within about 2 minutes they turn around and go, well, we ain't going to get there, bet all your life's worth, you know what I mean, go for it, get the gloves on, have a scrap, I don't care, let's watch the racing. But they are trying to do the right thing at the moment, and I think that's what they're doing. Lopez, however, is not doing that. He's closing down on Hadfield, trying to bring Connor Pink into the situation, and you can see in the back, Robert Barber and Stuart Brearley just about to swap places at the same time, and Brearley's gone through in front.
Yeah, clean move there from the 299. But at the minute, with the inverted top 12 for the 25-minute feature race, that is going to mean that Joseph Lopez will start on that pole position slot for the 25-minute encounter.
That's going to be an interesting one, you know, because we're going to have Lopez, Hadfield, Pink, Roost in that order, sitting on the front 4, with the likes of Wareham, Kennedy, Dolan, Marshall, Foster, Benson all behind them. So in hindsight, if they go into this with the mindset of, you know, like we saw in the GT3 series, you know, where they didn't defend, they just let the guys through, and then the end of the season they nearly lost the championship because they just kept letting this geezer through to win. You know, I'm hoping that these guys in the Pro-Ams going, well, no, I'm here for a fight. I want to have a scrap. You know, I'm not gonna let you through. I'm gonna go for it. I just go for it. Have fun. You know, if they're that good and they're that fast, they'll make their way past you. If they don't, well, they ain't that good then, are they? You know, have a go. Scrap it out, son.
Completely agree with you there on that front, JP, as we've got the last 3.5 minutes coming up now. Another one in the wall. That's Stuart Briley.
Yeah.
Did exactly the same as he got Satiro. It was a carbon copy, apart from the fact he didn't go too far right, but look, the back end's going to touch the grass, and there she goes. Spinning more times than Kylie Minogue.
Love it. Love that one. Briley's got a meatball, unfortunately. He's going to have to go back to pit lane, and that is it. He just jumped directly straight back there. But Wareham leading the way. Kennedy in the mix as well. Wareham's on his run through 7, 8 and 9. Foster is still there with Benson in behind him. And Darch has got Casper Bruce closing in on him here. He's about 3.5 tenths back. And you see the Connor Pink, Hadfield, Lopez battle still materialising. So 2.5 minutes to go. Lots of racing still to come.
Yeah, and still, with this amount of time currently ticking away rather quickly, one of the things that always happens here, JP, is that as these races go on... Oh, Gesundheit.
Thank you. The stream didn't hear that, mind you. I was muted, but thank you very much for that.
No, James is not feeling 100% at the moment, but he still has made it to the broadcast. Good man, as always. But look at this. Simon Darch has got Casper Roos right on his rear wing and rear diffuser. So Simon Darch has got to watch his step a little bit here, because the Dane behind him is catching quickly and is going to get the side draft a little bit here down the start-finish straight. So we'll have this and one more to go once Daniel Wareham crosses the line. But Simon Darch holding on as if his life depended on that 8th place finish, and Casper Roos just calmly soaking up the pressure like the proverbial sponge. tries to get through here, and this is out at turn number 4. Or he went 2 wheels on the curbs. Simon Darch just had enough to keep it in front, but not quite possibly here. Oh, that was way too close for those 2 drivers, and you had the likes of a few more, say for instance Connor Pink, Adrian Hadfield. They are starting to close, but it's not significant enough to make it that much of a deficit right now.
That might be though. Darch has got in very hot here. Casper's going to have to run out. They're going to go down on the side by side. Darch is squeezing him. You can see him. He's not quite in front of him, so he alongside him, so he doesn't really technically have to give him room. He can give him a little bit of a squeeze, and you know, that's it. If he was alongside, then yeah, leave it room, but he wasn't. So Darch manages to keep Roost tucked in right behind him through the right-hander. Coming into the final couple of corners now as well. Rooster's going to dive the inside again. He needs that inside line. Darch should be able to carry the speed all the way round. Going into the left-hander in the last corner. They're going to make contact. Little bit of very close racing here as well. Roost gets pushed out again. Darch opened up the steering. Darch said no, but we have got a battle materialising at the front with Dan Wareham and Kennedy.
So the last 15 seconds tick away as, well, look, Neil Kennedy is pretty much there or thereabouts. Out of turn number 5 for what will be the last time, effectively. So white flag lap underway through into 6, and then also down into turn 7. The right-hander here, a little left curb hopping through 8, downhill through 9, into into 9, then into turns 10 and 11. So timer has expired.
I just want to pick up on something really quickly. Darch and Bruce were literally nose to tail. I will jump back to Wareham. Don't panic. Sorry for cutting over you. But they were literally having a right little bit of an argy-bargy in through 7, 8 and 9. And it's brought the 5 in. You can see there's 5 of them now battling it out. Wareham is on his run round the final corner, but we will jump back to that battle very shortly. Back on board with the leader. Sorry.
That's all right. But we are a stone's throw away. Checkered flag will be out this time and taking the opening victory of this season of the Tanso Racing Group Toyota GR86 Grand Tour here at Barber is Daniel Wareham. Neil Kennedy strikes first in the Pro-Am, and look at Simon Darch. He's got Casper Roos to the inside, and Darch goes way off wide. That's possibly going to give him a slowdown penalty. But he hip checks Casper Roos across the line, and Connor Pink steals 3rd in Pro-Am at the line. Great stuff.
You naughty boy.
Slap on the wrist, send you to bed with no dinner for you.
Love it. He managed to hold on to 3rd. Rooster's in behind him, Connor Pink in there as well. But Simon Darch getting his elbows out, getting a little bit of an argy-bargy over the line there as well. Drax, good race. It was a good race. I enjoyed that one, mate, as well. And just going to wait for Perez to come over the line, of course, before we go into a brief little warm-up. And then we'll have race 2, top 12 reverse. That's going to put Hadfield on pole position.
Oh, well, there we go. And Joseph Lopez will be alongside him on the front row. That'll be an interesting first row. But here are the results of round 1, race 1 here at Barber Motorsports Park.
There you go.
So thank you very much, Mr. Parfitt. Daniel Wareham takes the win by 0.4 of a second ahead of Neil Kennedy, who wins in Pro-Am. Michael Dolan in P3, rounding out second in Pro-Am, ahead of Jim Marshall and Dan Forster, who complete the top 5, rounding out the top 3 overall in Pro. Matt Benson and Lee Martin ran at the top 7, but Simon Darch getting his good old karting elbows out and sharpened with the standing knives attached, courtesy of him and Casper Roos. Connor Pink rounds out the top 4 in Pro-Am and completes your top 10 ahead of Mr. Zumi's Joseph Lopez. Adrian Hadfield for Next Gen Racing in the 205 will start on the inverted top 12 pole position for our 25-minute feature coming up very shortly after the warm-up. Then we've got Robert Barber, John Johnston, Matt Perez, Stuart Briley, who unfortunately slammed the wall, going a bit too heavy on the throttle, coming out of the final corner. And 5 laps before that, Egolf Citiro did exactly the same thing.
Literally the same thing. Right, guys, we've got about 3.5 minutes of warm up. I'm just going to grab a drink, get some throat lubrication going on because I'm pretty sore. So we'll be right back very, very shortly.
Well, an interesting opening race for the Tanso Racing Group GR86 Grand Tour here in Leeds, just outside of Birmingham, Alabama. It sounds like the north of England, doesn't it? Leeds not too far away from Birmingham, up north in the Midlands.
I thought that's where you were going. I was like, hold on a minute. I'm pretty sure we're in a completely different country. But
I know. That's the thing. There's even an Ipswich in the USA.
Yeah,
that's how weird. Yeah, I know. I was looking for, so like there's Leeds, there's Birmingham, there's Ipswich. What's next? Chelmsford, London?
But it could be one of them there already as well.
Yeah.
Connor's been in. It's good to be back. I bet it is. Connor, how is the baby? How is baby Axel? How's the wife? Is everything okay? Hope you're all good on that one. We've got about 1.5 minutes left of warm-up before we go into race number 2.
It just goes to show driving a sim is a bit like riding a bike. Once you race, you never forget. But that depends on. But then
I suck.
I was not going to throw anybody under the bus. That was for sure.
Okay. All right. Well,
and that included your good self, sir. Because I mean, watching some. What was it? Didn't you do an MX5 500-mile race?
I did. I went to do the MX 500 again to defend my crown. All was going well. I was in 3rd place, and then a guy on the inside, I'd allowed him through, and then he just went straight across the front of me and put me in the wall, which knocked me out for about 16.5 minutes. And when you're doing 25-second laps at Martinsville, 16 minutes is a long old time. But I stayed with it. I was about 40 laps down. I went back out again, and then the next thing you know, I just got absolutely sent to the moon and back. And then I blew my engine, and then everything went wrong. And then I was just like, right, I've had enough. So that was it. I gave up. I quit at that point.
As in, I am not dealing with any of this flaming malarkey anymore.
Yes, and the only thing I did differently between when I won it last year was the fact I qualified and went out onto the grid. So I should have learnt my lesson and just started at the back. So to be fair as well. There is a Middlesbrough in Kentucky, says Drax.
So
we got Middlesbrough. What other names showing we can find out there as well?
I
don't know. Have a Google.
That's exactly what I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah, but how would you Google?
Oh, yes. Chelmsford, Massachusetts.
Yeah. Nice.
Because you've got Chelmsford and Essex. Now we've got Chelmsford, Massachusetts. Or if you say it wrong, you end up with the word 2 and a 5-letter word that begins with S and then ends in S and it's got hit in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah,
right,
so...
Grid for race 2.
Here we go. Adrian Hadfield and Josef Lopez, Mr. Zoomies, will be on the front row. Connor Pink starts on the inside of row 2, joined by Casper Roost. Simon Darch, Lee Martin, row 3. Matt Benson, Dan Forster, row 4. Jim Marshall, Michael Dolan, Neil Kennedy and Daniel Wareham round out your top 12. Robert Barber, John Johnston, Matt Perez, Stuart Briley, and Egolf Satiro round out the field. Let's hope that Satiro and Briley don't do exactly what they did in the previous race.
Crash.
Out of that final corner. The 5 red lights come on here for race 2. 25 minutes, lights are out, and once again the wheel spin. Plumes of smoke hit the air here at Barber Motorsports Park, and Hadfield gets a really, really good launch. Casper Roos might be going a bit brave and banzai round the outside at turn number 1, and he gets through. Well, Joseph Lopez didn't give him much to think about, but there's drama in the background. And Robert Barber's just hit the barriers, and I think that was slightly assisted by John Johnston. I think they started to magnetise towards each other, and then Rob Barber just went, oh no, bang, in the barriers, and has now got a meatball flag. Meantime, Lopez gets through, Martin drops behind Dart, and that is going to be very, very much a bitter pill to swallow. But Lee Martin hanging on at the moment. Simon Darch to the outside. Oh my goodness me, there's contact further back. Daniel Wareham's involved.
Yeah, we'll have a look back at that as well, because Dan Foster was involved in that one.
So is Michael Dolan by the looks of things.
Yeah, there was a couple of people having a go.
Oh, don't tell me it's going to be squeeze. Oh, he gets the tap. He gets the tap, does Forster, then back straight into the path of Dolan. Wareham's got nowhere to go. They all take the Joker lap.
Yeah, unfortunately though for Dolan, he was the one that caused that in the first place. So unfortunately he had nowhere to. He can't complain because he just went straight back at him. Adrian Hadfield leading the field, Casper Roos, Joseph Losef, Darch and Lee Martin with Matt Benson. I'd like to point out there is loads of names from the UK in America. Alabama alone has got Ashford, Avon, Birmingham, Brent, Brighton, Chelsea, Leeds, New London, Oxford, Sheffield and Woodstock and York. And that's just in Alabama. That's without any of the others. Alaska's got Sutton, Arizona's got Winslow. There is loads out there. Wikipedia has just told me you don't even want to look at Florida. Florida has got an absolute heap.
Yeah, Manchester being one of them.
Yeah, loads of them. Middlesex, Melbourne, Marlborough, Margate, Mansfield, Buckingham. Loads of places going on here as well. But anyway, we'll get back to the racing. And if you're interested, I'll post this Wikipedia link in YouTube chat and you can all have a look.
Oh, don't even go and look at Connecticut. I'm sorry, folks. That's all I'm saying on that one. I've just looked and I've gone, huh? Jaws dropped to the ground like Jim Carrey in The Mask as Darch and Lopez! No!
Where is he?
Zoomies is gone.
Zoomies might have gone. I couldn't click on him then because he was just dropping down the order, unfortunately.
So, like, literally, Joseph, I think they're just behind, who is it? Casper Roost, and
him and Darch go side by side.
Yeah, and Joseph tried to turn left when he should have turned right and got contacted. It's all kicking off here because in the middle you've got Lee Martin. Darch goes off, Marshall up the inside, Martin goes through. If Darch is not careful, he's going to lose a position to Kennedy at this point. And that nearly has happened. They come through the final corner. Darch nearly tries to hit check Kennedy coming out of that 17th and final corner. Dan Wareham is right there. Connor Pink in P9, Forster in 10th. And this is going to be a bit too brave. Wareham to the outside of Kennedy at turn 1. And he has just about squeezed through, and there's the move completed out of 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Over the hill he goes as well. There is Barber on the right hand side trying to stay out of the way. Kennedy now coming at him on the run into the left-hander. Is he going to be able to make it through? He's got to try if he can. Can he? Darch is holding on here. Darch is holding on very, very well at the same time, but this is kind of a bit of an under-fired run from Darch because he's got Wareham, who's a different class, holding up Kennedy, I get, and Connor Pink in behind that. But Wareham at the moment is climbing all over Darch like a baby monkey all over his mother picking fleas.
Oh my goodness! And now Wareham, is he going to go to the outside? He's going to give it a go. Hip checks against Darch. They're going to go wide. Oh, that's a big old off track for the pair of them. And still, Simon Darch has an opportunity. Kennedy trying to look for a possible opportunity through. Wareham tries to dive back up the inside of Darch. They make contact. Darch is losing a little bit of control. Connor Pink also going up the inside as well. I think Simon Darch has just received a taste of his own medicine there.
Absolutely. Darchy just got literally calmed on that one. And that was Wareham, who just was like, this is how you do it, son. And literally just tipped him. Casper Roos is having a good old little bit of a ding-dong with Mr. Jim Marshall. Marshall's just about to go out the inside. That's going to leave Roos down a position in third overall. Lee Mines tucked in right behind him with Dan Wareham there, currently closing the gap. Unfortunately, Wareham's bringing a train of Neil Kennedy, Connor Pink, Simon Darch and Dan Foster all in the mix with him. So they've all got to be a little bit more careful because the guys behind are coming.
All I can say is the charge of the Light Brigade is ringing like Billy-O in my ears at the minute. It's like da 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 da.
Hey, they are, aren't they? It's like the peloton in the Tour de France closing at them.
Oh my goodness me, yeah. And that's even crazy, especially when they're going downhill towards the finish line after a big ascent up, like what, 1,500 feet or something like that above sea level. Like some of the craziness that happens in the Tour de France is only something that a complete and utter mentalist would try and attempt, and I'm not one of them. Thank God for that. Meantime,
my knees wouldn't hold out anyway. So
no, I think both of us we'd have knackered knees within the first 20 kilometres of going uphill. You and I.
20? God, you're lucky if I get through one without them clicking and hurting. But there we go. It's going to be interesting. We've got coming into lap 4, 18 minutes to go as well. I love the fact Jax is there going, get back to the racing lab to YouTube chat as well, telling us off at the same time as Adrian Hadfield still leads away, and he's doing a stellar job, mind you, setting times in and around the leaders, in and around in 1:37.5, 37.2, fastest lap 37.30 for Mr. Marshall, who was closing in quite rapidly. So great scrapping happening here. Depends if Hadfield, how long can Hadfield hold on, and whether or not he will be able to hold on.
Yeah, that's the big question here, because Jim Marshall on the previous lap did a 1:36.296, and he just did a 36.677, so he's swarming all over the back bumper and the rear wing of Matt Benson in the Valhalla Motorsports car. And down the hill they go. You can see that Jim Marshall a little bit cleaner on the apex entry and exit. And there's, you know, like in a lot of cars, sometimes you'll see there's some drivers that are quite, and you know this as well, JP, that there are some drivers that are just very, very frantic. Look at Jim Marshall. He is just so smooth with those driving inputs, and that really helps. Whereas if you're having to completely overcorrect, you know, you're trying to brake, you're trying to change down gear, you're trying to turn the car in. There's a lot going on, but Jim Marshall just seems to be so calm and precise.
Yeah, if you can maintain that, you know, I think it was Jenson Button who we were watching an interview once with, who said you need soft hands and loose grip. You can't do anything tensed up and holding onto the steering wheel for living daylights. You know, you need soft hands, you need that light grip on the steering wheel and keep control of it. And you can see Marshall here did a very good job around there as well. Hadfield holding on for his absolute dear life at the moment. I don't know for how much longer is Hadfield going to be able to hold on, but at the moment he's doing an absolute stellar job. He's still got that first place, and Marshall now is going to use Hadfield, I think, a little bit here if he can. Try and block Benson in.
Yeah, it's getting a bit too close for comfort as Hadfield gets through. Back again on Benson. This is going to be the opportunity that Marshall needs at this moment. So can he thread the eye of the needle at this point in time? That's going to be the crucial thing. And now Hadfield has lost out to Benson, who's taken the lead. Marshall now through, 9 minutes down, 16 to go, and Roost and Martin are with them. Wareham's about 7.5 tenths behind Martin and is running P6. And with just under 16 minutes to go, there's the opening that Marshall needed on Matt Benson for the race lead, but it's going to be a left-hander uphill coming up now. Will Marshall go to the outside, then get the undercut through the inside? Yes, he does. And Roost right round the outside of Hadfield, and Wareham's gone with him.
Yeah, Roos sweeps around the outside there as well. Wareham's unfortunately dropped Hadfield down another place. Hadfield's only got one more. Oh, there you go. Kennedy's just gone round at the top of the hill. There he is, sat there on the side of the car, on the side of the circuit. Marshall now with Benson and Roost and Wareham and Hadfield and Martin. Pink is there as well. If Martin can clear Hadfield, Pink's got a straight run at the Pro-Am lead overall here. So this is going to be very, very interesting to see whether or not these guys can close up. But you can see the train. This is right the way down to 10th place and Mikey Dolan at the back. Kennedy was in that, and unfortunately he's dropped down. But Dan Wareham again is just taking the inside of Casper Roos and has gone past him now as well.
Well, there you go. One move by somebody opens the window of opportunity for somebody else, and Wareham manages to get through on Roost, who gets, I think he nearly got a little bit of a love tap with the right rear corner, courtesy of Hadfield. And so now that's allowed Lee Martin in the 303 to just about sneak ahead. And more to the point, well, Connor Pink is gunning for his first class victory in a very, very long time, because he is right with Adrian Hadfield. The gap is 4/10, and it is more importantly closing. This could be a really good run for Connor with the Cheetos livery on the 207 entry, but we are past the halfway point, and now it's about keeping yourself in that groove. Don't make any unforced mistakes, any unforced errors, especially over. Oh, and Simon Darch has just binned it. What's happened to him? He's gone off the track. Maybe the Kismet has hit him twice again here in this second race. Let's have a look.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's done here. He might
on the curb. Oh, he's run a bit wide, and oi, Code Brown clean up on aisle 3 for the 244.
Yeah, he manages to hold it there as well. We've got Benson and Wareham back together again. Casper Roost is still in there. Lee Martin is in there. Hadfield's now going to have a little bit of trouble because he's got his own class in and around him in Connor Pink at the moment. You can see Dan Foster in the background. He got caught up in that incident on lap 1, of course, and he's going to be trying to get up there as well. But at the moment, Connor's got Adrian Hadfield in his sights. So the question is, what can he do with him? And is he going to be able to do anything about trying to get past him here? So we'll have to keep an eye and see what Connor Pink can do.
Gap between him and Adrian Hadfield is closing. Connor's decided to put the wiper blades on by mistake. That just shows you how long he's been out of the sim, obviously with little baby Axel now joining him in the family. But still, to be this close, I mean, what, 0.3 of a second, give or take? And Connor is keeping Hadfield very, very honest, I must admit here, JP. He's doing a really, really stellar job as they go through into the final few corners of the circuit here at Barber Motorsports Park. Got a ping. Oh, he got he had way too much momentum going through that corner, and the car just understeered to the left.
Yeah, couldn't quite get that rotated, unfortunately, but Connor's now sat in again. Hadfield's in front of us, having his own race with Casper Roost. Connor's probably playing that they need them two to fight and allow him to get a little bit closer. But the battle for the lead of the Pro-Ams is going to be very, very interesting indeed. And you can see Hadfield Pink literally 0.3 apart at the moment. Marshall still leading the pros. And he's got Dan Wareham about a second and a bit back.
And at the moment, well, Hadfield is trying to get through. I think that is on Roost. This could give the opportunity to Connor Pink. To the inside he goes. And I have to say, good avoidance there from Connor, just to keep out of Adrian Hadfield's side door at that point. But he's going to get a little bit of overspeed. It's the left-hander coming up. And, you know, what credit where credit is due. As I said, you know, Connor's just become a dad, doesn't get much time to practice on the sims, but this again shows the caliber of speed that this driver has, and also racecraft. Meantime, Robert Barber has just received a slowed down penalty as Connor Pink tries every which way but loose to get through on Hadfield. This time I'm afraid it is not going to happen, but he's got the opening he needs. To the inside goes Connor Pink and takes the Pro-Am class lead. That was a mighty bit of teeing up there from our good friend in the 207.
Yeah, great driving there from Pink. Now taking that away from Hadfield. He really wants Foster to clear him now as much as possible, put a gap in between, put a car in between them. But Hadfield's trying to come at him back into turn one, can't make it through at the moment. Pink's now got Roost in front of him. If Roost is going to slow him down for Connor Pink, he's got to go. He's going to have to go and overtake him. So we'll find out how and what goes on here with Pink. Great driving there as well. And it was a great driving from Mr. Pink as well, as he's going to go and look up the inside at the moment. He's getting his confidence back behind the wheel now as Pink. Give him Roost a good old go as well. He's got the inside line. Can he hold it on the exit? That's going to be the question.
Yeah, because we still have 9.5 minutes on the counter remaining as Connor Pink is each. Oh, dearie me. He's thinking, well, maybe I've got a chance against Casper in front of me. And there is an opportunity that has again presented itself to the man who loves his Cheetos, Mr. 207, Connor Pink, to the inside. Oh, that is so close. That's like Mansell and Senna back again in 1991 in Formula One. To the outside, and Pink again does exactly the same thing, this time to Casper Roost. Great stuff, as Connor's now got himself up into a genuine 5th place overall. He started 3rd. He's making some really wicked moves here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Pink is on a bit of a roll now, full of confidence. He's like, yep, I can do this. I'm going to go and have a go at this moment in time. And he's got himself in 5th at the moment. But he has got Roost, Hadfield, Foster, Dolan and Darch. Well, Darch is a little bit further back, but he's having a right old go at the moment. Dan Wareham has closed right up on Marshall as well. So Wareham and Marshall are going to have a little bit of a ding-dong as we go into the final 8 minutes. We'll keep an eye on these two and see what they get themselves up to.
Yep, can Daniel Wareham make it 2 for 2 tonight and have a maximum score, leaving here and going to Snetterton in just 7 days' time. Meantime, Jim Marshall, who started, funnily enough, in 9th, Daniel Wareham started, well, he did finish the first race first, and as a result of that, started on the outside of row 6. In 12th position. We ride on board with the 323 from Simtech, and through every kind of corner where he knows that he's got the overspeed, he is closing that gap to Marshall. Down the dip they go again, hard on the curves goes Daniel Wareham. He's throwing real caution to the wind and keeping that momentum through the corners. Of course, with those kind of curves, you don't need to rotate the car, you just need to get it round it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's more about trying to keep the car on the circuit and keep it going here. And you can see Dan Wareham has managed to close in. Marshall's going to be under a little bit of trouble because Wareham has not only got Marshall in front, he's also got Benson coming at him behind. Benson's, he's teetering on that second mark. He's almost got in the top, got them there, but he just can't get quite close enough at the moment. But Wareham is the man who could put Marshall under problems.
The counter continues to tick away here at Barber Motorsports Park for round 1 of the Tanso Racing Group Toyota GR86 Grand Tour. So 3 circuits in the United Kingdom, 3 circuits in North America as we go on board on the roof cam with Adrian Hadfield in the 205, rounding out the top 3 in the Pro-Am category. I was going to say, in some respects, from this shot here, it makes it look like Adrian Hadfield's car is slowly but surely turning into Scooby-Doo's Mystery Machine with that colour scheme there. You see the orange, the bright green and the blue.
I wondered how long it was going to take you to mention that, because that is literally something that you could almost say that he could get out of that. I think if he got rid of the black, he would have a great-looking Scooby-Doo machine. However, Wareham and Marshall, they weren't very far apart there, and now they've drifted out to about 5 tenths 5.5 minutes to go. Marshall is there. Benson is just about there. Not quite there, nearly there.
Yeah, it's just that little inch more, an inch here, an inch there.
That's all he needs to get that time underneath to be able to give him a little bit of the draft help.
Yeah, because when you're 1.3 seconds off of P2, who is closing corner after corner on the race leader, Jim Marshall, in the 366, as they now go above the crest once again. And Daniel Wareham, on these sort of like uphill climbs that we have here at Barber Motorsports Park, is really starting to take that big time advantage over everybody else. It's just keep that consistency play going, and no matter what you're doing, how strong you are, whatever, if you keep plugging away, you're gonna hit that goal sooner than you might actually think it is achievable. As again, Wareham is not holding back, he is sticking with that individual in front of him, and that being Jim Marshall. But with 4.5 minutes to go, lap times 1:36.473 for Jim Marshall. Daniel Wareham 1:36.596, so 0.123 of a second between the top two. That is the closest it has been between the pair, I think, for a very, very long time in this opening race. But whoever does take the victory here in race 2 at Barber Motorsports Park will certainly, I'm sure to say here, JP, that they'll be smiling at the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's a great opening round. It's a great race, and I think these guys can be proud of the fact that that's what they've done, and I'm going to be looking forward to seeing how, you know, this season develops. I think this is going to be some great racing from these guys, and I don't think it's not just going to be the front, it's going to be all the way through the field. You know, they've all had partners to try and race with all night, and I don't think this is going to end. I think this is a great job from all of them.
Yeah, we got Dolan, Forster, Rooston, Hadfield, so a quartet of cars battling over 6. Forster's going to fly it up the inside of Dolan, and this is at the hairpin. And, oh, what happened to Adrian Hadfield all of a sudden there? That was unusual.
Yeah, he lost a lot of speed somehow. Not quite sure how, but he did lose a lot of speed. And, yeah, unfortunately, he's dropped down the order a little bit for Adrian on that one. But now Casper Roos is still there. Dolan and Foster all in the mix at the same time. Does look like Marshall might hang on, but Wareham's still within half a second away.
Yeah, they probably, when they next cross the lap, they'll have 2 to go here. As Wareham's got a black flag penalty. That is a drive-through coming his way. So I would say that is incident point limit hitched.
Absolutely. I would say the same thing. That is incident points. And unfortunately for Dan Wareham, he's been a naughty boy.
He's been a naughty little boy. He's been told to go on the naughty step and wear the dunce's hat. But with 2 minutes to go, that means that Jim Marshall has got a clear shot at the victory here in race number 2. And Wareham, this is a long pit lane at Barber Motorsports Park. It's going to dump him outside of the top 10 if he's not careful. He comes out, I think, 10th spot just ahead of Neil Kennedy. So one slight mistake too many. We said about this at the top of the show, didn't we, JP, on how closely matched these cars are, and Daniel Wareham has gone from hero to zero with that black flag penalty due to incident points limits being reached. And Marshall, he's thinking, I've got a 1.8 second advantage.
He had literally been given a lifeline.
Yeah, get out of jail free card.
Yeah, absolutely. So literally been given a lifeline on that one. So yeah, it should be Marshall's race.
So Marshall makes his way through to the final complex of corners, and after this one we've got the white flag lap. So Daniel Wareham took the victory in the opening race of the Tanso Racing Group GR86 Grand Tour, but it is going to be 2 different winners from 2 different races, and that's also going to be in both classes as well, because Connor Pink, now running 4th, is on course for the Pro-Am victory as Jim Marshall goes into turn 1 on what is going to be the 16th and final lap of this 25-minute feature as we're set to conclude round 1 out of 6 for the GR86 Grand Tour.
Yeah, and what an opening round it's been. What an opening round it's been as well. Howard Wareham's going to try and come and have a go at Darchie.
And give him a bit more, give him a bit more karma to play with.
Yeah, they've been giving a little bit of a cuddle to each other all the way through this. I think Darch gave Wareham a little bit of a hit check. Wareham has decided he was going to give Darch the same thing. So let's see how this one develops as well. We'll keep an eye on Marshall. He's on his run through 7, 8 and 9. We'll see how he gets on. Darch, I've got a funny feeling he's going to open up this steering. He's not going to give... Oh, he gave Wareham a little bit more room than I thought he was going to.
He's still opened up the steering nevertheless, but it is the case that Daniel Wareham will pull past Simon Darch and retake 9th position after that unfortunate black flag trip down the pit lane. But now it is going to be 2 different winners in both respective classes. Jim Marshall makes his way through into turn 15, 16, and then hard on the brakes into the 90 left coming up shortly through the camber on the left-hand side, over the curbing. Jim Marshall picks up race win number 1 of the series in race 2. And well done to Matt Benson from Valhalla Motorsports. Lee Martin will round out your top 3, and Connor Pink is back with a bang after a little hiatus. He wins Pro-Am and he's 4th overall.
Great job from Connor Pink there. Stunning run. Hadfield comes over the line in 3rd. Michael Dolan in that Pro-Am grabs 2nd place. But great racing. I've really enjoyed this tonight. I think it's been really good. And
I'm looking forward to the next 5 weeks, mate, because we've got some great tracks coming up.
Absolutely, as well. Yeah, they have put Silverstone on there, but we won't talk.
Well, if we get more entries, we could have an absolute bonanza of a race. You know, as they say, the more the merrier. Well done, Barney. You've been waving that flag like a good old trooper, as you always are. So let's have a look at the results. Jim Marshall takes the win overall in race number 2 of the opening round of the 6-round series. Ahead of Matt Benson and Lee Martin rounding out your top 3. Connor Pink takes the win in the Pro-Am side of things. Dan Forster, P5. Michael Dolan takes 2nd in Pro-Am and 6th overall ahead of Casper Roost. And Adrian Hadfield for Next Gen Racing rounds out your top 3 in Pro-Am and top 8 overall. Daniel Wareham recovers to finish 9th after the black flag trundle of shame down the pit lane, as we like to call it here on JPB. He finishes ahead of Neil Kennedy. Simon Darch ends up 11th ahead of Stuart Briley, Joseph Lopez, Matt Perez, Robert Barber, John Johnston, and, well, unfortunately, Igor Satiro, I don't think he even made it out onto the grid. No, he didn't. I think after that race 1 incident, it did not help him one iota. Well, we do have some drivers to have a chat to post-race, so let's bring in, first of all, our race 2 winner here tonight. Let's bring in, if we can, Jim Marshall.
Hello.
Well, that was a close one between you and Mr. Wareham until he got that naughty little slap on the wrist in the form of a black flag drive-through penalty.
Yeah, he was keeping me humble all the way through that.
But it's not an easy track to get around here at Barber Motorsports Park, isn't it?
No, that little chicane that goes downhill is just such a scary one to try and get right and consistent on. But it does have a nice flow to the track, to be fair.
What was your first thoughts when you realised and you saw in your HUD that Mr. Wareham had got a black flag penalty? You thought, oh, I've got a little bit of an advantage now. Let's go off and just get that car across the line.
I don't think it was thoughts as much as my heart rate going from about 200 down to about 150 beats per minute.
That's fair enough. But I think also one of the other characteristics that we have to remember here at Barber Motorsports Park, Jim, is that the curbing is really, really high, isn't it?
Yeah, the cars are quite bouncy, and a lot of the curbing you can actually get sort of 1Xs on, so you got to be kind of quite careful where you kind of position your car. But the good thing about the Toyota is you can actually attack the curves quite hard, and it's going to be fairly stable.
Well, at least that's helped you out a little bit. You know, one win on the cards. Thoughts there to Snetterton next week for round 2?
Snetterton's not one of my better tracks, but
Okay.
it'll be fun to drive, and if the racing's as fun as it is today, then I'm all for it.
Brilliant. Well, Jim, congratulations on the win in race number 2.
Thank you very much.
And also, along with that, you finished, if I remember it correctly, 4th in race 1. So a good haul of points. Congratulations. Well done tonight. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Shout out to Connor for Connor Pink for introducing me to the league to begin with. So thank you, and also thank you to John for hosting it as well.
And you've got a number 1 YouTube fan of Sir Draxalot, whoever that may be, who races you daily.
He's a good friend of mine.
You might want to shout him out as well.
Shout out to Gaz. Shout out to Gaz. Yeah.
All right, well done, bud. Well done.
Thank you, Rich.
No problem. I'll remind you. It's okay.
So there we go. Congratulations, Jim. We'll see you next week at Snetterton 300 for round 2.
Cool. See you guys then.
Well, speaking of Connor Pink, let's bring in the man himself into there. Well, look at that. A man who's decided to do a bit of stewarding, gets back behind the wheel, and he picks up a win on the first week he's back. Well done, mate.
How you doing, boys? You all right?
Yeah, not bad.
You don't sound very happy, you grumpy
You
rascal.
sound.
I'm very happy. I'm very happy with that. That was a cracking race. I put some moves on a couple of people there I didn't even know I had. So that was an interesting race, that second one.
Well, I mean, if you can put a move like that up the inside of Casper Roos and then do it to Dan Forster as well, that's not exactly that's something rather than nothing. I mean, you sounded like a sour lemon when you. I thought, hang on, that's muted, understated joy there from Connor Pink. But I mean, obviously with Axel now being part of family life, how are things going with him at the moment? Is he behaving?
Oh yeah, he's good as gold. He's a chill little lad. So yeah, it's going really well. Yeah, I don't have a massive amount of time, as you guys know, to practice. I think I only bought this track at about 4:30 this afternoon after I'd sat in a tattoo chair getting my chest tattooed all day. So to come off with a class win in the second race is really good. So I'm really happy.
Yeah, sets a good trend heading into Snetterton next week, doesn't it?
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with Snetterton, but we'll see if I can get a couple more hours practicing this time. And yeah, I think I was quite lucky in that second race. There was a few crashes that kind of bumped me up the field a little bit, and then Adrian kind of lost it into the hairpin a little bit, so I just sent it up the inside, and then I realised I was catching the guy in front of him, so I just sent it on him as well, and it was it was kind of pull it there and hope it sticks, and yeah, it came off. So,
well done, mate. Good job. I mean, some good overtakes there. It just shows that you haven't had all that ring rust come along when you decided to buy the track at 4:30 this afternoon, and you go and get a class win in the first week of the series. So, Connor, well done tonight, mate. Great job. Nice effort. Anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go, mate?
Just the family, and I actually raced with Jim in another Discord as well, and he's an absolute legend. So it's really nice to see him get a win as well. So yeah, cracking from everybody, really good racing. So yeah, and thanks to you guys as well, as always.
Brilliant, Connor. We'll see you next week for Snetterton 300 for round 2.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
We've got time for one more interview. Let's bring in our Danish stalwart, Casper Roos. Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, you've definitely been in the thick of the action today, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been very interesting to say the least, especially the first race with Simon.
Yeah, I think Simon definitely got a bit of karma coming his way in race 2 when he tried to. Well, I think who was it? Dan Wareham, wasn't it? JP that gave Simon a bit of a taste of his own medicine, didn't he?
Yeah, they were having a little bit of an argy-bargy, Casper. It was quite interesting to watch, to be honest with you, dear sir. But you did really well.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it was. I heard something on the radio with them, but I was ahead of them, so I didn't know what happened. But yeah, me and the battle I had with Simon, that was it was very fun, but it was also very interesting, especially on the last lap.
Yeah, definitely the case, but still a good points haul for you in the 219. You know, we talked with Connor, we talked with Jim about how difficult this circuit is. I mean, you know, it's really about carrying that momentum and rotation through the corners. But as we saw with a couple of drivers, Stewart and Egolf, they both decided to bid it accidentally coming out of that final corner. Just tell the folks at home how difficult it is to try and rotate a Toyota GR86 through turn 17.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because if you come in with too much speed or too harsh of a turning angle, you'll just end up over rotating it. But also, if you let's say you have way too much speed, you also end up going understeering, and it just does not handle that very well. So you just end up going way wide compared to, for example, MX-5.
Well, Casper, great job this week. Well done. Get yourself a nice set of points ready for next week. What are your thoughts ahead of Snetterton 300?
I'm at this point. I'm just very happy because the last season was it could have been better. I didn't necessarily have a great heat and the main race, so this time I actually finished both races very nicely. So I'm just happy about that, and then I'll see what next week brings.
Brilliant. Well, Casper, well done tonight. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Not that I can think of, honestly.
I'm sure you'll find somebody if we have the opportunity to speak to you in the post-race interview show anyway. But well done tonight. We'll see you next week for round 2 at Snetterton.
Yeah, see you next week.
Well, what a way to kickstart the 6-week adventure for the Tanso Racing Group GR86 Grand Tour here at Barber Motorsports Park. And JP, next week we head to the wonderful Norfolk countryside and the good old flat as a pancake Snetterton 300 circuit.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting for them to contend with as well. You've got the loop in, obviously, going round through the bomb hole down into Coram, into Murray's as well. So lots going to be playing out on that one. Hamilton all in the mix at the same time. So, yeah, lots of trickiness to contend with.
Well, before we wrap things up, folks, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the JP Broadcasting Network. You can also find us on social media, so you can have a look at some of the action-packed dramas that we've had on Reels past, especially on Instagram. But you've been in the company of Alex Goldschmidt and James Parfitt here on the JPB Network here on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back, same place, same time, next week as the Grand Tour for GR86 and Tanso Racing Group heads to Norfolk at the Snetterton 300 circuit. Until next time, race hard, race fair, and if in doubt, you better go flat out. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Good night.